Ever wonder what everyone's doing on their phones? They're banking with Bank of America.
They're saving, planning, and budgeting all before dessert.
Digital tools so impressive, you just can't stop banking. What would you like the power to do?
Well, thank you guys, and let's get right into it. This morning, Sandy made some incredible opening remarks, and I talked a little bit about my report on building an innovation corridor in the region. And one of the things that was the centerpiece of that is when you think about great innovation regions, certainly across the United States and also across the world, it's always true that they are hubbed by a great research university or a number of great research universities. And for the past 20 years, I've been saying there is really no place on earth that can match the research power and prowess of this region and these three universities. So I'm just delighted. I'm just delighted to be with all of you and to have this conversation. And Kimberly, I'd like to start with you.
All right.
My wife and a lot of her family went to Wayne State, so I know the university pretty well.
That was a good intro, by the way.
Pretty sure my father-in-law went there too. And look, you have been a hinge point for so long. When people didn't believe that what has happened here could happen, Wayne State University believed. You have done so much to grow, the university has grown so much, and then your investment and development of TechTown has been, there's tons of credit for what's happened in Midtown Detroit over the past decade or so. So what do you think has been the key to that, not only in the past, but what do you think are some of the things Wayne State and the university can do in the future to continue this progress towards building an innovation ecosystem?
So, Richard, thank you for that question, and it's such a pleasure to be here with my university colleagues. And you're right, Michigan is a special place because of the strengths of the research universities, each of whom contribute something distinctive and that together is greater than the sum of its parts. So Wayne State is, in fact, Detroit's hometown university. And in some ways, we're Michigan's University of Opportunity. We're a public urban research university. We serve talented students who are the least economically resourced in our state. TechTown is, in fact, and I would call it kind of Detroit's OG Center for Innovation, in that we were funded 20 years ago, thank you, 20 years ago by forward-looking foundations who believed in the power of universities bringing together talent to foster and catalyze economic development here in Detroit. And what I see looking out in the opportunity ahead of us on behalf of Michigan, on behalf of Detroit, is to really take those ingredients that are strong and can do so much and organize them together to have a common strategy, bringing together our big business, our founders, our funders, to really then work a strategy, to work a recipe. Because you know what? I think we can bake a pretty darn good cake that can share the benefits across our community as we have.
Santa, let's go to you. You know, the University of Michigan and Ann Arbor have always been an incredible center of research excellence, one of the United States and the world's leading research universities. But something seems to be changing. You have this remarkable asset in Ann Arbor, but you're also expanding your presence here with the new Center of Innovation. And it was interesting, you know, I came up to the university for a day, and I met with some of your team. And I was very humble in this. I didn't want to force it. And I said, I asked this kind of dumb question. I said, you know, maybe 20 years ago when you were trying to recruit people to Ann Arbor, there's a great airport in the Detroit area, but maybe Detroit wasn't the recruiting edge. I said, has that changed? And everyone, to a person, said, it's incredible. People who come here say Ann Arbor is great, but lots of the young people want to be in Detroit. They find Detroit to be exciting. It's exactly. So something really big has changed. And now you're kind of at both ends of the Ann Arbor and Detroit Innovation Corridor. What are you doing to make that happen? And what do you think needs to be done to help grow that corridor?
Well, that's a great question. And thank you for interacting with members of this ecosystem and our team. You know, for me, the most exciting thing that's happening right now are my colleagues on the platform here, that we have 3 relatively new presidents, and we've come together and we're really rolling up our sleeves on behalf of what we can do for Detroit, what we can do for the state of Michigan. And we're really excited. There are going to be some, I think, significant announcements coming out of this group in the not too distant future. And that's all I'll say. We're really working together, and we have focused strategically on thematic areas. We're coming together this year to talk about what we can do in the space of water, in terms of clean water and those technology surrounding water. But we have other areas such as artificial intelligence. And as Kim said, we have collaborative opportunities. And so, yes, we think Detroit's the happening place, you know. It's an amazing renaissance, an amazing ecosystem of founders, businesses, and like I said before, at different venues, the stars are aligning. We're coming together in a way that we need to, so that the 46 unicorns that come out of the University of Michigan stay here in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, Kevin, Michigan State is also expanding its presence in Detroit and also in other parts of the state, Grand Rapids and elsewhere, especially with your partnership with the Henry Ford Health System. What are your thoughts on ways of deepening ties between Michigan State, between Lansing and East Lansing in your region and Detroit? And I also want to throw this in, because you and I had a chance to talk about it. Oftentimes when we're here, we talk about automotive and mobility, and I don't want to. Michigan is also a very large agricultural state, and your university is one of the absolute leaders in agricultural research. Now, I know that might be a little far afield for what's happening in Detroit, but what do you sense is happening between your university and Detroit, and to what extent do things that we don't usually think of, like agriculture, maybe fit in?
Well, thanks, Richard. And I want to just echo what Santa and Kim have said, emphasizing the importance of partnership, and we have a great partnership, and we're going to continue to build on that. I think, Michigan State University, as the first land-grant university founded in 1855, has an opportunity because of partnerships like this, because of the University Research Corridor, and to really think about what the land grant of the future should look like. We have 2 medical colleges on our campus, a nursing school, and a number of other biomedical research programs. The partnership with Henry Ford is critical to our success moving forward. We have an opportunity to partner with one of the best healthcare systems in the country, to allow innovation to take shape in a way that it never has, I think, on their medical campus and at Michigan State's campus. We have a great partnership with the MSU Research Foundation, working with our Conquer accelerator program that's going to help those clinician scientists think about new ways to commercialize their research and innovations, but it will be part of this new way of thinking. And to your last point, yes, agriculture is important. We were the first agriculture college in the country, and think about the intersection of those themes that Santa talked about: sustainability, health, AI, and mobility and advanced manufacturing. Intersection of food and health, I think, is one of the ways Michigan State will play an important role in the university.
And when you think about it, what really drives people increasingly is quality of life and quality of place. And really, food and health, wellness are critical. I met my wife, by the way, in East Lansing, just so you know. She went to Michigan State for a while, and then she transferred to Wayne State. It's the truth. It's clear that the 3 of you, I'm kind of not only amazed by this, the 3 of you, I spent time, really do get along. And this is kind of uncommon. That's all we'll say. In most regions, the 3 of you really get along and understand the strength of working together and your complementary efforts. And maybe there's another reason for it. All of you have come here from deep experiences with other places. And Kevin, I read your bio. You were born and raised in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Latrobe, Pennsylvania. It is just spectacular. I mean, I taught at Carnegie Mellon. I used to go to Latrobe. But you spent the bulk of your career in the Research Triangle, a place that is home, as I mentioned this morning, to 2 great college towns and a bigger metro area. And I said what makes a great innovative region is having a college town or college towns in partnership, the Bay Area. With Palo Alto and Berkeley and San Francisco, Cambridge and Boston. I'd just like to hear from you, starting, Kevin, and then from others. Are there things you've learned or experienced in the other places you've been, in your case in the Research Triangle or elsewhere, that you think are illustrative or informative for what we're trying to do here in Detroit and across the corridor?
Yeah, I think we have to be strategic about where our strengths are, leveraging those unique strengths that Kim talked about. RTP has been very successful for many years, 60 plus years. Initially, IBM was on that campus, and so much of the focus was around IT and computer science. They then lost that, and they had to kind of reimagine itself, and pharma came in, and that's when GlaxoSmithKline and Pfizer came in. I think we have an opportunity here, again, by being strategic, thinking about those unique areas where they intersect those themes. Think about leveraging the automobile industry, advanced manufacturing, the way that AI, we're all doing important work in AI, and the way in which we can help to move this forward. We have to be strategic.
And Santa, not to leave you out, at the University of Michigan, I have 6 nieces and nephews. You know, you also have incredible experiences elsewhere. I've worked with some of your former team at the University of Cincinnati. You built an incredible innovation district there. You were deeply involved. Oftentimes in Michigan, people are comparing what's happening in Ohio, You were deeply involved in the innovation and economic development strategy there. You know, like me, you split you're Canadian who works in the States, I'm an American who works in Canada, but you are at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. What can we learn, or what are some takeaways from being in those places that could help us think better and differently?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that if you look at the assets that we have here at the universities, the 3 universities, and other universities as well, we have much more. In terms of graduates, the talent that we produce, we want to keep more of it here. In terms of intellectual property, we're talking about about $2 billion over $2 billion in research. And so if you look at the magnitude of the outputs from the 3 universities, it exceeds those other places.
1,000%.
But you know, what I want to focus a light on is what we've accomplished. I've been here for 2 years now, and there's been a convergence. The business leaders of Michigan, the chamber, the state government, the universities, we're all coming together around the same table. There's a mutual respect. There's a commitment to the state of Michigan, to the city of Detroit. And so instead of saying, what have I learned from those places, I'm excited about the future. There are wins. 2 bills were signed by Governor Whitmer. We were there. Tax credits and an evergreen fund. It's exciting, and if you look not too far from here, there are things that all 3 universities are involved in that will really elevate the game for Detroit and the state of Michigan. It's pretty remarkable, and we have a plan, we have a vision. We're going to roll out some more in the near future. We're all in it. We have rolled up our sleeves. We're committed to this region, and I think the sky's the limit for what we can do moving forward.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think the time is now, the inflection point is now, the stars have aligned, and I think there's a reason for it. I think for the past couple of decades, Detroit was in deep trouble. It experienced deindustrialization. People were leaving. The downtown was in crisis. So a lot of attention locally and in the state was, how do we resuscitate Detroit? But Detroit now is known as beyond a resuscitation. It is the symbol of revitalization. And I think that alone opens the conversation about how we cooperate. Kim, you've been at the University of Texas. You've been at the University of Arizona. You've been at the University of Oregon. Same to you. Are there things you've learned there, things we can learn for those places, and what's the best way for the future?
So I'd like to pick up a little bit what you said about what's special, at least in my mind, about Detroit and Michigan writ large. You mentioned resilience, but really it's about perseverance.
Yes.
Look at what's going on with the Lions, for example. Sure, we had a little bit of a bump in the road, but that sense of grit and determination really is something special. So I'm very excited, for example, of the commitment. You mentioned the bills and the investments, of really forward-looking and thinking about what that future looks like. I do think we can take it then to the next level and be thinking about what do the specific sectors need to be growing and expanding footprint. The U of M Los Alamos project, the state is investing dollars towards purpose-built facilities that really help both the generation of new ideas as well as incorporating those new ideas into technologies and businesses. But each sector looks somewhat different, right? When you think about the life sciences, for example, we have a dearth of wet lab facilities in Detroit. We need more. We need more than is just coming online relative to your project. I get asked all the time by our entrepreneurs, can you host someone on campus? Well, sure we can, but not at the scale that we need to go from early stage to scale up. So I'm cautiously optimistic that if we take a sector-specific strategy and really think through what are the supports needed, that together, along with our founders and funders and large business and small, we can really do something remarkable and take it to the next level.
So less than a minute each. What is the critical next step in forging this greater alliance between what you do and Detroit's revitalization? Kim, you can start.
Yeah, so I think the more we utilize our forums and connect to come up with that common strategy. As I said, the assets are here. It's just getting us to row towards a common shared agenda. You can't do everything in all places, but picking those that are most promising, deepening our existing footprint, but also thinking about those next new opportunities that leverage the strengths that we have that we can take that leapfrog into that success.
Yeah, and building on that, Kevin and Santa, is there any organizational execution cue you would give us and our friends at the Chamber for doing just that? Is there any kind of organizational form or body that we could create that would help us get there?
So we need to know what the workforce needs are. I've started a Green and White Council at Michigan State that's a group of business leaders, government leaders around, and thought leaders around the state who can help us identify where are the gaps, what are we not delivering, higher ed delivering in terms of new graduates. To teach them to think in a different way. Bill Ford has said that many of his employees worry about their jobs being lost to AI. We have a responsibility, as he said, and he looked right at us, I think, in that meeting, and said to retool that workforce such that AI, they're not threatened by it, but they actually want to gravitate toward it. And think about all these industries are important. We want to be a talent activator, and we want to keep our graduates in the state of Michigan and hopefully attract other businesses and companies that want to come here to latch onto that talent. So we need to just hear from the community. We need to hear from the business leaders.
Santa?
I would say that the team is set. We have incredible research universities, business leaders of Michigan. We have alignment in our strategy. The Chamber, the city, and the state government, we're all on the same page. This is the year. I said this when the national championship. This is the year that we come together and we actually shoot for the fences. I would say two of the most important things I think have to come together are the founders have to be part of the table. In too many cities, the founders are not at the table, and they're the ones that really need to interact with government and universities and big businesses. But I think all that will happen. It's going to be an exciting year. 2025 is going to be amazing.
And I agree. And you can't wait. We've already had a change of government at the federal level. You can't wait for the change of government at the state and the local level. You have to move now. And I'm being honest. I've tracked this place for 20, 30 years. I never thought what we're doing today could happen. I never thought I would see it. Not only are we doing this, the three great research universities, the business community, the civic community, the philanthropic community, the stars are aligned. And now I think it just means making it happen. So thanks to each and every one of you. Thanks for all you're doing. A special thanks for the fact that you like one another and get along with one another. And we're very appreciative.
We're rolling up our
sleeves.
sleeves.
That's right.
Ever wonder what everyone's doing on their phones? They're banking with Bank of America.
They're saving, planning, and budgeting all before dessert.
Digital tools so impressive, you just can't stop banking. What would you like the power to do?